Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Kat Torres? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Kat Torres was born on October 24, 1989, and lived in Brazil. She went by the name Kat Torres. When she was young, many people told Kat that she was beautiful, which inspired her to become a model. This career led to success for Kat. She modeled in many different countries and participated in beauty pageants. There were even a few television appearances on her resume. To promote her career, Kat moved to France and worked as a model in Paris. In 2013, she implied that she was romantically involved with Leonardo DiCaprio after they were captured together in a photograph. According to her, a promise prevented her from revealing more information. Kat also claimed that she was close to senior figures involved in finance and the government. After spending some time in France, Kat decided to move to New York City to pursue an acting career. She never became an actress. Rather, Kat transformed into a social media influencer by starting a wellness brand on Instagram. In addition to being a self-proclaimed spiritual guide, Kat offered advice on relationships and business dealings. Her story was one of overcoming poverty, violence, and mistreatment to find financial and romantic success. Not wanting to restrict her talents to just advice giving, Kat also claimed to be a witch who could put curses on people. At one point, she proclaimed herself to be the queen of the witches. She wasn't just an ordinary witch who punched a time clock. She was in charge. Emphasizing her spiritual gifts, Kat published an autobiography titled The Voice. She claimed that her spiritual powers allowed her to predict the future. Her Instagram account eventually reached 1.2 million followers. People all around the world were inspired by Kat's amazing story of rags to riches. She had been born into poverty and now is a famous model living the high life in New York City. Many of her young and impressionable followers were mesmerized and wanted that same life for themselves. Kat was on track to have a good career as a social media influencer, but then she was introduced to psychedelics. People close to her felt as though she was never the same after this. It's not clear if her personality actually changed, but there is no doubt that she completely reinvented herself. Kat proclaimed herself to be a life coach and hypnotist and expanded her wellness brand with a website that had a subscription service. She promised her customers that she would reveal a path to achieving dreams like becoming wealthy, gaining self-esteem, and falling in love. Her incredible source of wisdom was a voice from above, which had been guiding Kat throughout her entire life. Getting connected to the wisdom of the voice was not free. Kat sold self-help videos and exercise programs to share her incredible knowledge. For big spenders, she had one-on-one consultations, which started at $150. In 2019, a woman named Anna moved from Massachusetts to New York City to work as Kat's live-in assistant. Here's what Anna claimed happened during her time with Kat. Anna's job was to take care of cooking, cleaning, laundry, and looking after Kat's pets. She was supposed to receive about $2,000 a month for her services. When Anna arrived at Kat's apartment, she was shocked to discover it was filthy. It didn't look anything like Kat's Instagram account. Working for Kat was a terrible experience. Anna was never paid, had to be available all the time, and was only permitted to sleep a few hours a day. This small amount of sleep took place on a couch covered in cat urine. Just to be clear, the urine was from a pet cat, not from the person cat. After 3 months of enduring these terrible conditions, Anna broke away with the help of a new boyfriend. At some point, Kat married a 21-year-old man named Zach, who she had met in California. In 2022, Kat and Zach moved to Austin, Texas, where they rented a 5-bedroom house. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. While living in Austin, Kat actively tried to recruit women to move in with her as helpers. Most of the women she contacted declined her generous offer, but she was able to convince 2 women, Desiree and Letitia. Both women moved into Kat's house and started performing various tasks that she wanted done. The conditions in the house were unpleasant. The women were not permitted to speak to each other and required permission to leave their rooms, including using the bathroom. According to Desiree, Kat pressured her into working at a clothing-challenged club. All the money that she earned went right back to Kat. Eventually, Kat wanted more and pressured Desiree into becoming a sex worker. Kat placed quotas on Desiree's performance. Initially, she had to earn $1,000 a day. Over time, that figure increased to $3,000 a day. If Desiree was not able to meet the quota, she wouldn't be allowed back in the house at night. Bank records indicated that in June and July of 2022, Desiree transferred over $21,000 to Kat. This does not include any cash, which may have changed hands. Eventually, the family members of Desiree and Letitia became concerned about their safety. In September 2022, the women were reported missing. Kat and the two women moved from Texas to Maine. While there, Desiree and Letitia posted videos on Instagram asking people to stop searching for them. They denied being held captive. These videos were incredibly suspicious and only increased the level of concern. On one occasion, when all three women were communicating with a police officer using an app, Kat was captured talking as if she believed the call had not yet started. Referring to the officer, Kat said, quote, "He will start asking questions. Guys, they are full of tricks. He's a detective. Be very careful," unquote. Kat also threatened to kick them out if they said anything. Officers managed to convince Kat to bring Desiree and Letitia to a police station in Maine for a welfare check. After arriving, all three women claimed that everything was fine. Kat explained why people were complaining by saying that she was famous and had a lot of haters who did not want her to be famous. She also mentioned that she had been a model and worked all around the world. It was clear that something unpleasant was going on. The police were not deceived. The women were taken into custody by Border Patrol and deported to Brazil. Life in Brazil wasn't any better for Kat. She was arrested and convicted in connection with her treatment of Desiree. On June 28, 2024, Kat received a prison term of 8 years for human trafficking and slavery. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Kat's problems may not be restricted to her 8-year prison sentence. Over 20 women have come forward and reported that Kat scammed them. Many unkind words have been directed at Kat. For example, she has been called a master manipulator and an absolute narcissistic monster. I would be surprised if there were any more criminal charges based on these reports, but this still damages Kat's reputation. It makes it seem as though her bad behavior wasn't limited to her treatment of just one person. Item number 2. Kat was interviewed while incarcerated in Brazil. She denied that the women who accused her ever lived in her house in Austin. Kat said that she never coerced anyone to engage in sex work and accused the women of being deceptive. She is completely innocent, wouldn't change anything that she did, and has no regrets at all. Kat was confused about how people were accusing her of being a fake spiritual guru, yet also accusing her of having the power to control minds. In a bizarre reference to her greatness, Kat talked about how there are people in the world born with no talent and people born with all talent. She considered herself to be in the latter category. Kat proclaimed that fame would catch her no matter where she was. If this is true, I guess fame better learn how to break into prison. Item number 3, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Kat Torres was self-centered, arrogant, condescending, grandiose, excitement-seeking, sadistic, shallow, cold, callous, manipulative, deceptive, attention-seeking, impulsive, irresponsible, antagonistic, falsely believed she was special, and had a sense of entitlement. She considered herself to have all the talent in the world, but she was actually in the no-talent category referenced in her little speech. Kat found some success as a model, but she had dreams of being an actress. After moving to New York City, she realized that finding work as an actress was harder than she thought. Kat didn't let this get in the way of success. At least one of her acquaintances believed that Kat's lifestyle was funded by one or more wealthy boyfriends. This gave her the freedom to reinvent herself as a social media influencer. She didn't really have to worry about money, at least not at that time. After using psychedelics, Kat became even more bold in her declarations of greatness and in her expectations. Kat assembled a narrative about herself, which was appealing to many potential followers. She was raised in poverty, but now she was wealthy. Kat was a glamorous and attractive individual living in New York City. She had everything that she could ever want, and, perhaps more importantly to her followers, possessed the secret to success in the form of a magical voice. With her special connection to a higher power, Kat was unstoppable and represented a gateway to success for anyone who latched on to her teachings. In exchange for money, Kat was willing to instruct her followers on how to fulfill their dreams. Her followers were inspired by Kat. She captivated them. They wanted to ascend to her level of glory. For those potential followers who may have been skeptical about the qualifications of a spiritual guru famous on Instagram, Kat produced other evidence of her greatness. She had been featured in magazines and on television, had contact with celebrities, and claimed to be a life coach. Eventually, Kat was able to convince a few women to work for her. Using manipulation, isolation, and threats, Kat coerced one of the women into sex work. Her end goal may have been to build an empire of women who would work and pay her the money. Furthermore, Kat wanted the women to look just like her, like they were created in the image of a deity. In one photo, the resemblance between Kat, Desiree, and Letitia was alarming. It was almost like Kat was trying to create a cult based on cloning herself. Now moving to my final thoughts. A theme emerges when looking at cases involving spiritual gurus or life coaches engaged in criminal activity. Almost all the time, when they speak of financial success and dream fulfillment, they use general terms. Everything is abstract and nothing is concrete. They never tell their followers something like, learn a skill, go to school, don't let expenditures exceed revenue, or create a business plan. Rather, it's always about some phenomenal secret formula they possess or some exclusive connection they have to a spiritual source of wisdom. This makes their followers believe that success is about discovering some type of truth and getting help from a deity. It's about finding something rather than performing work. I think this is appealing to many people because it avoids talking about hard work. These life coaches wouldn't get any traction if they told their followers that working hard was one key to success. The central message of these life coaches also sidesteps the issue of having talent or skill. Not only is there no hard work, there is no need to have the ability to do anything. Everything will be handed to the follower if they simply abide by the instructions of the life coach. Ultimately, these scams fail because, in order to make money, people must engage in some type of activity which is in demand. What this case really proves is not that Kat was some dazzling spiritual guide with amazing powers, but rather sex work pays a lot of money. The only throne to which Kat wanted to ascend was that of a sex worker business manager. Making money in this way has never been a secret, and it is not based on having some magical gift. Those are my thoughts in the case of Kat Torres. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They consistently generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.